perfect. It's like the perfect summer sweater that you need in your life. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Umbriël. You can also call me Brie, whatever is easier for you. I am a knitter and I make a lot of knitting related videos on YouTube. And today I'm going to talk about everything I finished and I'm working on in December of 2022. So a little bit more of a wrap up video. Usually I did like a podcast every now and then, but I want to make it a little bit more structured. So that's what we're starting with. All right. First thing that I have to show you is this finished object. I finished my, oh, don't worry about that. Super random. I had a mole removed, so I'm just protecting it from the sun. So that's all. But I finished my Maude Tee. Yay! So I'm super happy with it. I'll put in a cutaway video, I think, because then you can see a little bit better how it fits. But it's perfect. It's like the perfect summer sweater that you need in your life. This is my Maude Tee by PetiteKnit. So it's a pattern by PetiteKnit. It is actually a t-shirt until here or something. And I did a lot of adjustments. So I made it long sleeved with a tapered sleeve and a lot of ribbing at the end. And then the bottom, I also did a long ribbing. So yeah, it's perfect. It is knitted in Noro Kakigori, and I did a whole video talking about what am I going to do with my Noro Kakigori. So yeah, I have that video on my channel too if you're interested in watching it. But what came out of the video was me knitting this sweater, and I'm really happy with my choice. It's a perfect summer sweater. I've got to say I have to get used to the like openness of the polo neck. So really like it's open here, and instead of like having a sweater on and having it closed here. But I also omitted the buttons, so that's kind of my own fault then, I guess. But yeah, I really love it. I'm really happy that I decided to make this. So I only used 2 full skeins, used every bit of it, of the Noro Kakigori yarn. So that's about 1200 meters. And I made this size medium, I think. And just so you know, I knitted it with negative ease. So I almost always knit with negative ease, even though the pattern says to use positive ease, just because I noticed that it looks better on the shape of my body rather than having an oversized. Yeah, I just think for me personally, I like it more like this. I mean, it's still baggy. Here, I'll show you here. So it's still like perfectly fine baggy. This is like how I would wear a sweater that I would buy at the store. Like I wouldn't like it if it was a lot bigger than this. And it's, yeah, I really like it. Anyways, I also showed you, well, I will make a cutout video, but I'll insert it. So you will have seen a little bit better how it fits. But I'm super happy with it. So if you're a returning viewer, you know that I am in South Africa right now. I am living in Cape Town and working remotely together with my boyfriend who's doing an internship here. So it's pretty hot. So we'll see how long I can leave this on. But otherwise I'll take it off. We'll see how long I can take it. Yeah. I'm super happy with it. So I have so much to show you today. It's crazy. I feel like I need to make a video now, otherwise it will be way too long of a video and I will have to chat about everything. Yeah, so that's that. I also wanted to update you on other plans that I have for releasing other videos. So I want to make what I'm gonna knit in 2023 video. So all my ideas, all these things, all these patterns that I have queued on my Ravelry, put in my favorites, and then I actually already did this, but I haven't made a video yet. But I have this whole overview of like all the patterns that I love. And I rarely talk about this because I don't know why. I kind of talk about, oh, here are free patterns. Like I have a bunch of those videos, but I rarely talk about like my dreams in knitting. So I wanted to share a video like that with you. And then I wanted to do a wrap-up video of 2022, but I can't because I'm in South Africa and I don't have all my knits with me. So I'll save that one for February. So just so you know, if you're interested, to keep a lookout on that. And I think it's still interesting in February to see everything I knit in 2022. If you think I kind of missed the boat there or missed the train, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, is that too late? I feel like I can still make that video. Well, if you're interested, let me know. That'll take some time before I can make that because I'll be back in the Netherlands in February. So yeah, let's see where I want to start today. Oh yeah, one thing underneath, I'm wearing my camisole number 8 and I've been just wearing it so much here. So yeah, I might take this off and then you can see it a little bit better, but I showed it a lot in my previous videos. So yeah. Okay, let's see where I want to start. I was thinking of making this video a little more chronologically because that's how my month went of December. So my previous video I released halfway through or in the start of December, I think. And I talked about, hey, I would really like some to know some South African yarn companies or dyers, like let me know. Still, if you know some, please let me know. But I went on a little quest. So I can tell you, you can already see it around me a little bit, but I found a bunch of yarn stores. So what I started with, I wanted to design a polo tee, so a t-shirt. So not really like this, but I was inspired by the polo neck, but it's a little bit different. And I wanted to get some bright green and bright pink. And then I went to this yarn store called Spin Knits, and it's like a yarn store in this big like shed, but it's like pretty with all these African makers, and they sell yarn there. So I bought some green yarn and some pink yarn, hand wound it because I don't have my winder here. So I got this and I started making a polo tee. So it's really scrunched up right now, but I'm actually right at the arm increases, sleeve increases. But here you can see it's a polo neck. So this is my own design, and I just like calculated how many stitches I needed, and then I have this detail for the front. So it's a lot different, I think, than this. So I don't use the same techniques as this one. I kind of wanted to have a polo look, but with different designs. And then it has a 2x2 rib all over with a saddle shoulder. So yeah, I'll show you what that turns out to be. But so in the first round of when I went there, I bought 2 skeins of the green, and then I started knitting, and then I ran out of the green real quick. So I was only here and I was already out of the green. While this label says it has 300 meters. So I thought that can't be true, because I knitted my Colette Tee by Vitre Designs in a similar yarn weight. So this is DK weight yarn. I knitted that with DK weight yarn, and I only needed 600 meters for the whole thing. So I figured if I have 600 meters of the green and then also 300 meters of the pink for the details, then I'll for sure have enough yarn when I'm making like a similar gauge, or like a similar gauged t-shirt. But then I ran out of yarn so quickly, and then I thought, wait, a DK weight, this is 100 grams. It says it's 300 meters, that doesn't add up. A DK weight is usually 50 grams is 100 meters. So 100 grams should be 200 meters. So I went back to that store and I was like, I don't think it's correct. And then the woman was like, no, it's correct. And then I was like, I'm not sure how to, like I wasn't gonna ask my money back or something. I was just like, you should probably check it, because people are gonna count on that this is right. And I counted on that this is correct. I didn't think about DK weight. Like I didn't do that logical thing yet, but she was very sure that it wasn't, like I was wrong. And then she started saying that I needed probably like 3 skeins more. I was like, how am I gonna need so much yarn? And then she started saying that my gauge was way too small, so I needed to use a lot larger needles, while 4mm needles is the needles that I'm using on DK weight is like the normal thing to do. So I was like, huh? And as I was wearing my Sassy Classy crop top, which is pretty intricate. It's this, I'll show you real quick. So I was wearing this. I've just been wearing the cami number 8 and this one just all the time. So, and I can't wash and block my stuff here, so they're just like getting really worn and gross. But I was wearing this, and I just wear it so much, and it has this detail here. It's lovely. It's lovely. It's by Anne-Catherine. I love how like intricate this design is. How, yeah. So I was wearing this, and then she all of a sudden, the owner of this and not the owner, but the woman in the shop was like, "Did you knit that?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then I suddenly like noticed this like change in her attitude, that she was like, "Oh, well, maybe you do know what you're talking about." And it's like all different, like her whole attitude changed. And I thought that was so weird, because I was like, well, if I had no idea what I was doing, but I still had a decent point about DK weight yarn, then still you should have just been open to the idea. Anyway, the only thing I meant was like, hey, maybe you should change your labels, because I don't think it's correct, because there's no way that this is 300 meters of yarn. So yeah, that was an interesting thing. But yeah, so that was my first thing there. So then I went back for that skein of yarn. Then it was almost, so I'm doing this chronologically. So that's the polo whip. Then I was scrolling through Instagram and Christmas was almost coming up. So this was maybe the 19th or the 20th of December. And I was scrolling through Instagram and then I saw Lauren Aston Designs. She's a designer and she has a lot of yarn and she designs, she makes these kits for yarn. And she was like posting this video or maybe a stories or something about what should I wear to my Christmas dinner. And I was actually thinking here like, okay, it's super hot, Cape Town. I was gonna have a Christmas party with my boyfriend's colleague and his family, super nice. And it already happened, it was super nice. And I was thinking I should wear something knitted, but I kind of wanted to make something special for Christmas, to wear to Christmas. So then I saw Lauren Aston Designs video and it showed her wearing like a polo neck with like this camisole over the top of it, which was kind of see-through and like frilly. And I loved it. And I was like, I need that one in navy blue. You can maybe already see what I'm talking about here. So then I was like, I need mohair. I need to get some mohair to make this pattern. So I bought the pattern and I went on a quest. So I went back to that store to spin it. I think that's when I got the third skein of the green. And then I went to this other store called Cowgirlblues. And oh my gosh. I'll put in some footage of the store, but it was an amazing, amazing store. It's just located in this industrial area and I thought they were closed, but they just had like a gate because it's not always very safe here in Cape Town. So I got all stressed out in the Uber, asking the Uber driver to wait for me, but then it turned out that they were open. So I went inside and it was just beautiful. They had so much yarn. They were like dyeing it there and I met the owner and she was lovely, just super, super lovely. And then I started looking for some mohair and then, well, I kind of feel like I should have hidden this, but anyway, I found this mohair. This is all I have left of it. Wait, is it mirrored? Are you seeing this mirrored or am I seeing this mirrored? Well, I'll figure that out once I'm editing. So this is a kit silk. It's 70% mohair and 30% silk. And I got 2 skeins. So the pattern called for Lauren Aston's Designs their own mohair held double, but I figured it's pretty enough with 1 strand. So here I can show you. I knitted this. So if you follow me on Instagram, which I highly recommend because I post really nice stuff. No, I don't know. Okay, I don't know why I said that. But I did a whole video like all in my stories. I did like follow me along while I make this in one day. Well, I knitted the 2, like the fronts in one day while also working. And then the backs in one day. And then I had a day off. So then I did the whole body until like the frill. Then I made the frill basically in one day. And I bound off 30 minutes before we had to leave. So here we go. Then this is, so the pattern is called the Frillseeker Camisole by Lauren Aston Designs. And I did some alterations. So first of all, I did 1 strand of mohair, not 2 strands like the pattern says. I knitted it on 5.5mm needles. I made the medium size. So she has a really large size range, but she squeezes a bunch of sizes in the same category. So she just has small, medium, large, extra large. But the extra large goes until size 22 UK. I don't know which size that is in EU, but that's what it says in the pattern. So it's really size inclusive, but they do squeeze it into different size categories. So I did the medium, but I did it on a 5.5mm needle. So I have a smaller gauge, which I wish that maybe I would have either made it on the 6mm needles or the large size, because it's like, it fits perfectly around my bust, but I wish it was a little more like loose, but it also looks fine. I'll see if I can pop in a picture or a video of me wearing it. So that's what I did. And what I did was, what I didn't like in the pictures. So it's kind of funny now because I feel like I'm becoming like a pretty experienced knitter. And then sometimes when you read patterns, you're like, I can just perfect that a little bit more. So I saw the pictures of the pattern, and then I saw that at the front, you know, when you join two things, so you leave the stitches on hold, and then, and then you get join it with the other stitches. If you just continue knitting, you sometimes get this like groove. I don't know how to explain it. But what I did was knit the two stitches, the edge stitches, together. So now it kind of looks like similar on both sides. So if you have the example knits, you can see that it's like kind of bended to one side, because like that happens. That's normal. So I did that on the front, on the back joining, and on the sides when I joined. And oh yeah, what I also did was I increased a little more, like a little longer for the front and the back for the armholes, to work against that I decreased some stitches by knitting two together, and the 5.5mm needles. So I think I increased like 5 times instead of 2, like the pattern said. So then I joined in the round, then it was just a lot of knitting. I thought, wow, one skein of this mohair has taken me so far, maybe I can just finish it in one. Wasn't true. a lot of yarn goes into the frill at the bottom. I was like thinking, oh, maybe I should just do 2 strands at the frill because I'll have so much mohair left. But I was actually getting a little nervous towards the end of the frill, because it's like basically 4 times, one round here in the frill is 4 times the amount of stitches as it is here. So that's a lot. And then one other thing that I did differently, I did an I-cord strap instead of a garter stitch strap. So I just picked up 5 stitches and then I did I-cord till the end. So yeah, I think it's really nice. What you can see is pooling. So that makes sense because it's hand dyed. Like I said, they were dyeing their yarn in that store right there. So yeah, it's a little bit of a shame that it's like so much like boom at the front. Well, I guess this is, the front and the back are the same, except for I started the strap on one side and then I like knitted it together at the back side, which makes it a little less neat, but this is the back. It looks the same. It has the same like groove in here, as you can see, as the front. But yeah, that's what you get. And when you wear it over a t-shirt, so I wore it over a white t-shirt, you can't really see it. So I'm gonna put it back so I have something nice in the background. That's better. So what else did I get there? Because it was such a beautiful store, Cowgirlblues. So I got some other yarn. So I got some, without showing you the whip yet, I got some sock yarn. And this as a contrasting color. So I thought that was really pretty together. I thought, oh, that's like really fresh and new and blah. But I made like a combination of lilac and yellow 2 times for socks. 1 time for baby socks and 1 time for a test knit that I did for socks. So I was like, I came home and then I thought about that and I was like, why did I think this was something new? I always combine lilac and yellow. Anyway, so this is their sock yarn. It's called Proper Sock. And it's 100 grams, 366 meters, 75% superwash wool and 25% nylon. It's machine washable, so that's nice. And it's the colorway Orchid Blush. So, yeah. I love this color. I love lilac. And I'll show you a whip that I have here real soon. Oh yeah, and this is the same base, but I just got a mini of 20 grams in the color lemon. I think it was lemon. So I got that. Whoops. Almost lost a bunch of stitches there, but I didn't. And then I thought, so I have this plan. I've had this plan for a long time. I want to make a vintage sweater. It's called the Marguerite sweater. And I was planning on doing it as a like little bit of a knit with me kind of video throughout January when I'm traveling through South Africa. Sorry, I had to sneeze. While I'm traveling through South Africa, I was thinking of knitting that sweater. And I wanted to get yarn for it. So the yarn is actually a 3-ply because it's a vintage sweater and they used to make a lot of sweaters in that. But I was thinking like a sport weight yarn would be good too. So I got some colors for that. So I have 4 colors. So this one for the MAAN, which is the same colorway as the socks, Orchid Blush. And the yarn is Merino Twist sock weight. I think it's a sport weight, but I don't know what sock weight. So I mean fingering. I was buying it as a sport weight, but doesn't matter. 50 grams is 150 meters. I think that's a sport weight. Nah, well, let me know. And made in South Africa. So I have this color for the main color. She had this whole like thing, which was 5 skeins. And I have 1 here, and then the rest was made into 1 ball for me. So it came fresh from being dyed. So that's pretty cool of like visiting the store. So I got that as the main color, and then the sweater has like these flowers at the top and on the sleeves. And I thought this one for the leaves, so green. So I wanted to look like flowers. So this for the green for the leaves, this one for the center, and this one for the flowers, for the petals. Petals. I think it's a T. So this is natural. This is lemon. So this is the same colorway as the socks. I know, I just love combining lilac and yellow. I was like, oh, it looks so fresh and new. And oh yeah, okay, I do that all the time. Anyway, and this is the colorway Sage. So I was talking to the woman and the owner, and I talked about dye lots. So I was like, do you have a dye lot that you can write on here? So if I need more, you can like get me the same dye lot if I need more yarn. And then she said, yeah, we don't have dye lots. So they just like whatever they have. Dyed just now, but it varied a lot. So I saw some different dye lots. I saw some Sage that was a lot lighter than this. And I saw some, actually the Orchid Blush that I found for this yarn was a lot lighter than that. So that's actually the one that I picked out. But then she didn't have 5 balls of that for me. So then she got the full Hank for me, which was darker, but I still love the color, so it's okay. But that was interesting to learn about. And I also loved how small scale it was to see that. And I'm really surprised of how much more affordable the yarn is here. It's still kind of pricey, but it's a lot cheaper than if you get it in Europe or the US, where I think the US is even the most expensive when it comes to yarn. Like I was talking to another, like the third yarn shop that I went to, but I'll talk about that later. But I was talking to her, like that was the owner too of that shop, and she was like, but you have Stephen and Penelope. And I was like, yeah, but Stephen and Penelope, that's like 35 euros per skein. And I basically spent, everything I spent there was in total 35 euros. So yeah, but it makes sense because life is a lot cheaper here. So it would be insane if it has the same prices as in Europe. Yeah, then no one here could afford to knit, but I'm very lucky, so I can suddenly like buy all this yarn. And I felt like, I think just to be completely transparent, I think at this yarn shop at Cowgirlblues, I spent 77 euros for everything. So the mohair, all that, and the sock yarn. I thought that was a pretty good deal because then I'll have a sweater, a top, and a pair of socks, plus leftovers. So I thought it was a pretty good deal. And I think it's good to be transparent about it because I can't spend like enormous amounts of money on yarn, but yarn is just a lot cheaper here. So suddenly I'm just buying a little bit more because I can afford it. So yeah. Then I'll show you, oh, there's so much more. So I'll show you first. I don't know how to do this because I want to do it chronologically, but things kind of go. Okay, I'll just start with what else I got at Spin Knits. So I went back another time to Spin Knits. So that first yarn shop. I signed up for another test knit, and I'll include this in my knitting 2023 video, but I need to stop signing up for test knits because I can feel it's blocking my creative process. So I loved test knitting for a long time, but there are so many fun patterns to knit, and then you see something really pretty and then you can sign up for a test knit and you're like, oh yeah, let's do it. And then you sign up, but then you knit this one item, but you could also have knit another item that you maybe would love even more. That's already a pattern that's been brought out. And like, why would you test knit? Is it only for, I don't know, like why does that appeal to me so much? I think because it's so fresh and brand new, and you're like, okay, I want to jump on this bandwagon and I want to knit this thing. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have, that's like gonna be a New Year's resolution for me. Just don't sign up for test knits for like, or like wait a day before you sign up, and then usually it's already full. Like to really think about it. But anyway, I signed up for this one and I'm gonna do it because I signed up, and I'm not gonna, I always do my test knits. So I signed up for the Zodiac top, which is a sweater design by Qing Fibre. You might know Qing Fibre. She makes beautiful yarn, beautiful colorways. I would love to buy some of that, but like I said before, that is very, very expensive yarn. Like that's out of my price range for yarn. But she designed a sweater. And I think she's expanding a little bit on that front because she has Qing Studio as like a different Instagram account. So I'm assuming that she wants to release patterns under the name Qing Studio. So she had the Zodiac top, and I thought, wow, that looks so cool. And I think this was before I knit the Frillseeker camisole. But this one is also knitted in mohair. Also one strand of mohair. So yeah, here it is. I'm knitting this. I like the construction a lot of the like front shaping. So you just knit a rectangle for the back, and then you do short row increases to create the front panels, and I really like how that looks. I think it's not a uncommon way of doing like shaping. I think maybe PetiteKnit has done a lot of things like this. And then you increase for the neckline, and I really liked the way the neckline looked, but look how tiny this neck hole is. So I don't want to be too negative, and I just want to talk about how the experience is for me, and I don't want to shame any designers, and like I just said who the designer is, so that feels a little bit weird. But what I want to say is like, okay, you can have a communication with the designer and then she can fix stuff, but if then it takes a long time or you don't even get a response to questions that you have. And at some point I'm just like, okay, I'm just free rolling how I would do this. So for example, for the shoulders, you ended at the wrong end. So I purled a row, but it didn't say that in the pattern. The neck hole is way too small, so I just finished this yesterday, the neck hole. I picked up more stitches than the pattern says. The pattern says to pick up every stitch, but I picked up like 2 out of 3 stitches to get close to what the pattern recommended. I got more than what the pattern recommended, and it's like super tiny, so I'm gonna redo that. And yeah, and then I almost feel like, and I don't mind that much, but then you have an Instagram group and then people ask each other questions, and then I almost feel like I have to support the pattern being knit by the other people. Like there are some people who you can see have a lot more experience, and then you have like more beginner knitters, which is totally fine. And she said this was a beginner pattern, and I don't think it's a beginner pattern. So now the other testers, the experienced testers, have to help out the beginner testers how to knit it because they don't communicate. So I'm a little pissed about it because like that's a lot to ask for free. Yeah. Okay, that went negative all of a sudden. Please let me know and share any experiences like this with me. I would love to know. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so the design is, let's just talk about the design and the yarn and everything. So the design is one strand of lace weight. So I used one strand of mohair of, do I have the yarn? Yes, I have the yarn here. So I have one strand of mohair of African Hope, which is a mohair, a very, very affordable mohair, which has 80% kid mohair and 20% polyamide. So I usually I want to knit with a mohair that has silk because it's natural fiber. But I figured I knit socks all the time with polyamide in it, like nylon. And that's also still a natural, like, it doesn't feel like I'm wearing plastic. It's not like, I don't know, I don't want to shame acrylic. It's, yeah, you know. But so how mohair works, so let me see if I can, so I don't know if you know that, but you have one strand, a lot of fluff around it, and then the main, like the core, is either silk or a nylon. And polyamide is basically nylon. Like you can have different names, but polyamide, nylon, I think it's the same thing. So yeah, so it works the same way and it feels the same way. I have to say this is a lot softer than this. So yeah, but this is like a commercial brand and that's like a hand-dyed indie dyer brand, so it kind of makes sense, but it's really lovely. So it's knit with one strand of mohair for the most of the body of the sweater. And the amazing thing is that this also, I put in a clip where I wear it. Yeah, so you can see. Most of this, so everything that I wear in that clip is one ball of yarn, only one ball. So I bought 5, so I'll definitely have enough of that. Yeah, that's also, I would have liked to like not overbuy, but yeah. Anyway, and then I needed a few like scraps of DK weight, so I'll put it, I have put in a picture I think of the top, but I'll put it in again so you can see. So it has like these sections of like a DK weight yarn. So I got this is a sock yarn, but it's really thick, as you can see here. So I'm going to use this for one color, and then I'm going to use this one because I'm only going to need it for the little dots of the, like the little stems of the flowers for that sweater. So I'm going to use this yarn together with this. So that's like the same yarn weight as the contrasting colors, but then more of this one than of that one. I think that would be fun. That'd be fun colors together. It's kind of different from what I usually do, but now that I'm saying that, it's purple, blue, and yellow, and I always do purple and yellow, and that's blue too, and I'm wearing something blue too, so I don't know. I felt like, oh, I'm doing something so different than what I usually do, but maybe that's not true. Yeah. So I want to have this finished as soon as possible, but I did this in like a couple of days. It's going really fast because it's on 60mm needles. And it's amazing how mohair can look on a big needle. Like you would think it would be super holy, but it actually looks really good. So that's interesting to me to learn about. And then the final yarn shop that I went to, and this was really recently, I went to this yarn shop. Natural yarns, and I loved it. So it's situated in this farm, just like an hour drive out of Cape Town. And the first time I went, it was closed, so I was really sad. So then I made sure we went back because I wanted to see what it was like, and I wanted to get some yarn there. And I also saw something else online, and I'll show you in a bit because I got it. So I really wanted to go there. And I got, so there's this, I got all like, well, one isn't, but all like local yarns that they sell there. So I got this one yarn by Nurturing Fibers, 100% bamboo yarn, and it's again blue. Like, now I realize that I do have a preference for blue, but I just think blue looks really nice on me. So that's why I'm just always buying blue. So I got 5 balls of this, and they go 125 meters per ball. So I have 625 meters. And I was thinking of knitting another camisole number 6 with this. So I have one camisole number 6. I knitted that one in cotton, and I think it would be really nice with a little more drape. But this one goes to, the recommended needle size is 3 to 3.5 millimeter needles. So I was thinking, because the camisole number 6 is knitted on 4 millimeter needles, I was thinking of going down to 3.5 and then knitting a size up. Maybe even 2 sizes up, because I don't want it to be like holy. I don't want it to be see-through. So I got that. The yarn, so it's Nurturing Fibers, and I saw this in the Spin Knit store too, and it's, I think they like Natural Yarns is actually the well, they are affiliated with them or something. Like they had like so much of this yarn, like it was just one wall full of this yarn. So that was awesome to see and to get some of that yarn. Then I asked, my boyfriend was with me, and when I go to a yarn store, then he's just like bored because what can he do there? So I was like, there's a bunch of sock yarn, so why don't you just pick out a nice color that I can knit socks for you? So I knitted my boyfriend some socks before in the self-striping yarn, and he loves them. He loves a lot of different colors, and he picked out this one. So he looked on the little picture. So there's a little picture here, how it's gonna look. Yeah, and he loved this one. So I think it's gonna be pretty similar to the ones that I made him, but then a little more cohesive in colors. But I think it's really nice. It's from Wasserwelten Opal. So I guess it's a German yarn brand. Yeah, I think it looks really cool. And yeah, he wanted it, so he wanted socks in these, so I'm gonna bring those home with me. And then lastly, I got some sock yarn for myself, and the woman who was in the store, so I think she's one of the owners or not, anyway, she is Lily Rose. And no, her name wasn't Lily Rose, but yeah, you meet someone so quickly. I don't remember her name, but she is the dyer of Lily Rose, and I got her sock yarn. And look how pretty. Oh, it's just so pretty with the speckles. And I didn't know this was her yarn, so I bought it. And I was like, oh, I love that one. And she was like, yeah, I love dyeing speckles. And I was like, wait, this is you? So yeah, she's a yarn dyer. And then I also got something else. And that's like the reason I really wanted to go there. Because I found online that they had spinning kits. So I got a spinning kit. As you can see, I haven't opened it yet, so, but it was really recent. It was a few days ago that we went there, so it's not that weird, but it's from Stellar Fiber Works, and it's instructions for learning how to spin yarn on a drop spindle. So it's one of these, and I have a friend back in the Netherlands, and she did this when we were having like a little knitting coffee date. I was knitting and she was spinning yarn on a drop spindle. I was like, hey, that's interesting. And then I looked on, I'll see if I can make like a video with my phone of my screen to show you, but I've been just obsessed with drum carders, people doing drum carder thingies. So then they make the yarn that you can use to spin. They make the wool, like the fiber, that you can use to spin. So then they have all these things coming out. So I got this too. Look how pretty. I'm sorry for the crackling. There's like all these like different fibers in there. Some like glitter and stuff. But I've just been obsessed with those videos, and I've just been looking at them forever. I really want to like get into spinning and getting to like carding, I guess it's called. So if you have any experience with any of these crafts, please let me know, because I'm really interested in like learning, and I'm gonna start with spinning. So this is another New Year's resolution, and I'm really excited about it, to like branch out and do something new with yarn. And yeah, just look how pretty. Yeah, and again, this was all pretty cheap, because I got all of this that I just showed for the price of one skein of tea from Penelope. That was the joke that I made with her, like, wow. So then I went to that farm. So that shop was on a farm, and I walked around and I was like, I needed sock blockers, and I saw sock blockers there, but I forgot. So I got some sock blockers from Stellar Fiber Works as well. And then when I got home, so this is the last thing I'm going to show you. When I got home, I got to block my Kirstenbosch socks. So this is my own design, and this is going to be the first pattern that I'm going to be testing out. So if you're interested, keep an eye out, because next week I'm going to do a tester call on my Instagram, and I'll see if I can make a post on YouTube too, so you won't miss it. So turn on the notifications. So I think you have to subscribe first, and then you can hit the bell to be notified when I make a new video or when I post, I think. So make sure to do that if you don't have Instagram, because then you can still tester me, of course. So yeah, I got sock blockers, and they are perfect because they only had one size, and it was my size because I have the most regular sized feet. Yeah, so here we go. My Kirstenbosch socks. And now they look a lot prettier than they did when I first showed them, because then they get all floppy when you can't block them. So yeah, I think they look super nice. So tonight we're going to Kirstenbosch. So the name is, I'll talk about it a little bit. The name Kirstenbosch Socks. Kirstenbosch is a botanical garden in Cape Town, where we went like pretty much the first day we were here, and I just loved it, and I thought it would be so nice to name a design after that. Or I was like thinking about Cape Town related things because I'm here when I designed it. So yeah, I knitted it, so it's just like a regular sock yarn. This one is from VMCJ Knitwear that I talked about a lot. And then the toes and the heels and the stripes are from a Filcolana Arwetta sock yarn. So I used those socks. I knitted it on 2mm needles, but I'm gonna check the gauge to see what I would recommend, because I am generally a pretty loose knitter. So I don't want to recommend a 2mm needle if that's mostly for me and other loose knitters, but not for a regular knitter. So I might recommend a 2.25 or a 2.5mm. And the sizing will be based on the circumference of the foot. So I'm going to include that, and then I'm going to include a chart where you can decide how long to knit it. and it's knitted with an afterthought heel. So I have this whole like measure from here to here to decide where to put in the heel, so you don't have to do too much thinking while you knit it. So I always like an afterthought heel because you can just knit and knit and knit and knit, put in the toe, and then come back in to do the heel. I really prefer it over any of the other heel methods. So those are my Kirstenbosch socks, version 1. So now I can show you what I've been making with the sock yarn that I bought at Cowgirlblues, because of course I'm making a second version. So for this version, oh yeah, so it has a fold over brim, and for this version I made a fold over brim in stockinette. So here you can see it's folded over, so it has stockinette here, and then here you can see the inside. So this is stockinette fold over brim, and I also wanted to have an option for ribbed fold over brim, and I really like the way this looks. So this definitely has the sporty vibe, and I love the neon yellow. Yeah, so that will be my second version, and yeah, I'm just gonna start the testing, which is super scary. So really, if you're just slightly interested in testing, please just test because this will be my first one, and I kind of don't have that much expectation for a lot of people to want to test, but maybe I'm underselling myself. But if you're interested, please test, because I do need testers to like release a pattern. So yeah, and I'll promise that I'll make it enjoyable. So yeah, I really like the way this looks with the folded ribbed brim. So I'm gonna have two options for the stockinette folded over brim. Brim is here. No, it's a cuff. The folded cuff with stockinette, or the folded cuff with rib. Yeah. So I have this as the example. Like, this is what it's gonna look like, but it's gonna be the same. Yeah, the same sock for the rest, like, of the other one. So yeah, yay. So that was everything. I think it was everything. I did a little bit of a different setup here, like a different way of doing my like video. I guess this is still a podcast, but I'll just call it like a monthly recap or something from now on. So please let me know how you like this setup. So I'm gonna do like a December wrap up, January wrap up. That's like my plan for the future. And then I will do like different videos in the middle of that. So then I can post every 2 or 3 weeks, I hope. So yeah, please let me know how you liked this video, this other setup. I did like a chronological thing. That always makes a lot of sense in my head, because my head, not my hat, but my head. Yeah, so you can really like understand where I come from with my knitting and how everything is formed and why I make certain decisions. So this is really like, I showed you all the decisions that I made. So please let me know how you like that. And if you like this video and if you like this type of content, please subscribe. I've noticed that if I say please subscribe, then more people do subscribe than if I don't say it. And then I get more like reach with my videos. So if you want to support me, support his channel, support my journey in the knitting related things, then please subscribe. You can turn on notifications so you'll be notified when I make a new video. And you can follow me on Instagram if you want to follow little things that I do during the day, during the week, knitting related of course, and to see the tester call. So please do all of that, and other than that, I'm really happy to have you here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. All right.